Hi, this is Chaz Palminteri, and if you're thinking about getting your eyes done, the only person to see is Dr. Rothman of LASIK of Nevada. I flew all the way from New York to be here, and Dr. Rothman did my eyes. And all I could say is, it's a miracle. I could see. You see Dr. Rothman of LASIK of Nevada.
Broadcasting live from the Vegas Video Network studios, just steps from the Las Vegas Strip.
It's time to get on the right side of sports betting. It's time for the Odds Couple.
Welcome to the Odds Couple on the world-famous Vegas Video Network. My name is Scott Pritchard on the world-famous Vegas Video Network. The name of the show is called The Odds Couple. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend and co-host, Anthony Padilla.
Oh, it's good to be here, Scotty, but I'd be a little remiss if I didn't say that I am upset, slightly disappointed we are beyond the NFL season. But today, we will be talking about moms and college sports, rice floats, and why the biggest winners on this show in this football season were actually Scotty and I.
Let's recap the Super Bowl. The 49ers taking on the Baltimore Ravens. If you've been living under a rock or been outside the country and didn't hear, the Ravens won the Super Bowl by 34-31, the final score. Now, the Baltimore Ravens, it's amazing to me. It just goes to show if you don't make mistakes, if you don't turn the ball over, what you can accomplish. This is a team that had lost 4 of their last 5 regular season contests, a team that even when they made it to the Final Four in the AFC with Baltimore, Denver, New England, and Houston, they were 11-1 just to win the AFC, 20-1 to win the Super Bowl. They went on the road, beat the Denver Broncos. They went to New England, beat the Pats, and then in the Super Bowl, they were a 9-point dog against the Broncos, a 9-point dog against the Pats, and a 4.5-point dog against the Niners. They won all 3 games straight up. Congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens.
Look, we've talked about this before, and to ad nauseum, really, at this point. But we've talked about momentum, and we've talked about intangibles. It doesn't matter what your record is when you go into the playoffs. It doesn't matter what you did last season. It doesn't matter what your roster is like. All that matters is how you're playing at the time that it matters the most. I mean, truly, at the end of the day, it's not college sports. It doesn't matter if you win by 30 or 40, as long as you win the game. And as you just mentioned, the most improbable of victories 3 times to then go on and win the Super Bowl. I mean, it was insane. It was amazing, really. And you've got to wonder, did this have something to do with Ray Lewis and him being on the way out and bringing up his retirement at just the right time where these guys rallied behind him? Was it the factor that Joe Flacco, he's been getting a little flack, if you will, for whatever reason is beyond me. This guy's got a playoff victory in every season, all of his 5 seasons in the NFL, and now a Super Bowl ring on top of that. How is this guy not worth the money? Truly, he may not be as flashy and as pretty as some of the other guys at the top, but clearly the guy is a winner. I mean, if somebody said on your team, and I'm not saying you specifically as a Patriots fan, but just in general, hey, if I told you for the next 5 years your team is going to win at least 1 playoff game every year, you're going to take that for all intent and purpose, right? I mean,
you make it sound like there are no other players on the team. Joe Flacco is a good quarterback. He's far from great. I give credit where credit's due. We're talking about a guy who did not turn the ball over. The Ravens, as a team, did not beat themselves. I don't buy the team of destiny. That's for fanfare. That really doesn't play into making money sports betting. I pride myself on seeing things before they happen. I'll be the first to say, did not see this coming. The Baltimore Ravens winning the Super Bowl, amazing, amazing accomplishment. Again, the point I'm trying to project here is it's amazing what you can do by not turning the ball over and not having a ton of penalties, shooting yourself in the foot.
Okay, but it doesn't matter how many players are on the team. The quarterback position is the quarterback position. And when it comes to a quarterback getting paid, it's dependent upon the quarterback's play. It doesn't matter what other guys are on that roster. So in comparison to the other quarterbacks in the league, Joe Flacco has absolutely put himself in a position to earn top quarterback money. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the timing is very interesting because obviously he's going to make a lot of money with the contract up. But as far as the quarterback goes, it is a quarterback-happy league. It's a pass-happy league. And again, Flacco deserves a lot of credit. The fact that he did not turn the ball over. A quarterback's best friend is a good running game. I think Ray Rice and Pierce did a great job. The offensive line did a very good job. They have big play receivers. So again, congratulations to the Ravens. I really felt the Niners going in were the better team. I actually played the Niners on the money line, minus 70 cents. I bring this up because it's all about value on the odds couple at Vegas Video Network, because the line closed minus 210. So let's just say that I bet $1,700 to win $1,000 on the Niners to win the game straight up. If you bet the day of the game, all the money was on San Fran. You would have had to put up $2,100 to win $1,000. So the idea is, even when you win, you lose. If you're scalping, grinding $400 per $1,000 that you're betting, long term you're going to do extremely well for yourself. It's one game, one time. Again, congratulations to the Ravens. The Niners going into the season were projected to be the best team in the NFC, and I really believe they were. The question I had about the Niners was, are they going to be able to beat a good Packer team in San Francisco and then go on the road to take on the Falcons? They did the hard part. Now they get to play not Denver, not New England, but the Ravens and Joe Flacco. Niners statistically had well over 100 yards more than the Ravens, but it doesn't matter. It's offset. It's neutralized if you turn the ball over and you have penalties.
And like you just said, you don't believe in teams of destiny. You don't believe any of that. But clearly it was something. If the better team on paper didn't win the game, then what's the explanation?
The explanation is they didn't beat themselves. They didn't make mistakes. They didn't turn the ball over.
Sure.
So congratulations. I mean, again, I'm giving them a lot of credit.
It's never about the better team on paper. It's never about that. It's always about, and you've heard it a million times, that's why they play the game. On any game,
if these two teams played again, who do you think would be favored? The Ravens? Are you out of your mind?
Of course they're not going to be favored, but it doesn't matter who's favored. It matters who shows up that day. And there were a lot more factors going into that game. A veteran Ravens team and a young San Francisco team. Clearly the moment, at times, was too big for the San Francisco team, which played a factor in the turnovers and whatnot. That interception that Colin Kaepernick threw that sailed over Randy Moss's head, clearly, when you sail a ball high, it's nerves. That's not he never sails the ball high. We talk week in and week out about how this guy has a rifle for an arm. He never makes that pass. You know, nerves got the best of him.
I agree, but Kaepernick in his second year, Colin Kaepernick from the University of Nevada, he's going to be a very, very good quarterback. The thing you want to look at here is Randy Moss could have actually helped his quarterback out by at least attempting, because just by making a token effort, that means that Ed Reed would have to play the receiver as opposed to just cherry picking the ball. So Randy Moss deserves to be thrown under the bus, in my opinion.
Well, absolutely. I mean, but look at who we're talking about here. You know, and if you're going to talk 3 days before the Super Bowl about being the greatest receiver of all time, then you should at least go up for a ball that is uncatchable. At least make it look like you're attempting to make a play. Because
the only one saying that Randy Moss, is saying he's the greatest receiver is Randy Moss.
Absolutely.
He's on an island by himself on this one.
And there's quite a bit of Moss on that island.
No doubt.
All right, look, that was a great Super Bowl. I mean, it was. Now, did you enjoy watching it?
Actually, no. I had money on the Niners to win the game straight up at minus 70 cents, so I was happy with the value. So I'm all about just cashing the tickets. So, I mean, I know you're a fan and you get all excited about this, that, and the other, but I was happy because at my Super Bowl event at Harrah's, I gave out 3 props. All 3 got there, and you may remember last week my big play was David Akers over the 7.5. So I was happy about that, but as far as the outcome, I don't get caught up into all the drama.
Now, that event that you had at Harrah's, I didn't get a chance to go. I had some other stuff going on. How was it?
It was great. A good turnout. People from all over the country came out for it to listen to what I had to say. I will say, as long as you bring it up, Dink, professional sports bettor, been doing it for 40 years. I've been doing this professionally for the past 30 years. And then Paul Bovey, a professional sports bettor, handicapper, an ex-Wall Street guy, a big math guy. All 3 of us independently, without having talked to each other beforehand, had gone on record as saying we all 3 liked the Niners. So I joked at the seminar, bet the Ravens!
And you should have, because that's what I said.
I'm not going to apologize for laying 70 when it closed 210.
Now, I'll tell you one thing. One last thing about the Super Bowl that I thought was kind of funny. The Super Bowl, the parade, Ray Rice actually fell off of the float. I don't know if you saw that.
No, actually, I'm trying to think why I would watch that. Why would anyone watch that? Why would anyone watch the parade?
You could make a prop bet who's going to fall off the parade float. I think that would be a good prop bet. All right, Super Bowl's done. NFL season come and gone. We'll let you know next week what our final records were. They were winning records. We should make everybody aware of that. But it is time to keep it going because the sports world does not stop. And it is NBA time. I'm excited about this. I know you're a big NBA fan as far as sitting on the other side of the computer goes. But this week, For our spin to win, we have the Golden State Warriors heading to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. Memphis is favored by 3.5 in this. As you know, as always, spin to win, we're going to spin the wheel, and whatever team it lands on, Scott's going to argue for that team. I'm going to argue for the other, because as sports bettor always bets with their head, not with their heart. For 3 weeks in a row, we have the lovely Tara joining us, so if you would please, Tara, spin the wheel.
Looks like Scotty's got the Golden State Warriors.
I'm going to make a solid argument as to why the Golden State Warriors plus the 3.5 points on the road taking on the Memphis Grizzlies will be a good, solid bet for tonight, Friday night. First of all, the Golden State Warriors, they've been the surprise team of the entire National Basketball Association this season, the Western Conference, top heavy with talent. This team at home has been very, very good. They, like a lot of teams in the NBA, struggle on the road, but they're taking on a Memphis Grizzlies team, a team that is really struggling. The general manager came in, the new dude, he came in and basically got rid of some key players. In the NBA, it's not who you start, it's who do you have coming off the bench. The Golden State Warriors are deep. I question their ability to play and win on the road, but the Memphis Grizzlies have no bench. They've traded away good players, their bench players, and now their star player, their leading scorer, Rudy Gay, is gone. They bring in the washed-up antique of a player, Tayshaun Prince. Wow, if you saw his last game, the guy is atrocious. So Golden State plus the 3.5. See the cashier.
You know what, man? Memphis is a strong team, and they're a fun team to watch. You know, they've got a good bench. Jared Bayless, he's actually, I believe he's averaging 19.8 points on 55% shooting over the last 5 games. That's not too shabby. You know, these two teams head-to-head, Memphis has actually won the last 2 this season on the road at Golden State, which is not easy to do. They've won the last 8 meetings. They've won the last 8 meetings between these two teams. You know, and I feel like they're building that momentum at the right time. I mean, February in the NBA, this would be like the dog days of summer in baseball. You know, it's that middle of the season, and they're battling injuries and colds, as some players are on certain teams and sitting on the bench. But, you know, you don't get the same kind of production, because to a lot of the guys, they're just kind of on autopilot right now. So this is where the teams that are going to start separating themselves start to do so. And I really think this is one of those key matchups where Memphis is going to do that. They're playing at home, you know, and they've got, I mean, like you just said, for all those same, Steph Curry's hot right now, you know, and I think this will be a big test for the Memphis defense. But I think at the end of the day, they're still going to come out ahead. They're going to win by 5, 10. I mean, I don't think it'll be that close.
I really think that you bring up the fact that Steph Curry's having a very good season for the Golden State Warriors. The fact is, this guy's hitting 45% from the three-point line. Now, it's interesting. I don't know if Anthony was actually listening to anything I said, because I just said the Memphis Grizzlies bench sucks. They're terrible. They do have one player, Skip Bayless. I'm glad you pointed that out, because he's been outstanding coming in off the bench. But wow, it's one player. Nobody else is any good on that team. And again, it's not who you play. It's not who starts. It's who do you have coming off the bench in terms of depth. Well,
Jared Bayless is a much better player.
His nickname is Skip.
I understand. But Skip Bayless, I think at times would serve a much better. Skip is actually on First Take on ESPN.
Is that what it is? I knew I heard that somewhere. Thought it sounded familiar. I was checking to see if you were listening.
No, that's always. So that's that game. Here we are, right in the middle of it. We're having a good time here talking basketball and football and whatever else we got going. Come back. We're going to take a break. Odds Couple right here on the Vegas Video Network.
Oh, hi. I'm Kelly Clinton. That sucked. I wonder if Joan Rivers is watching. Oh, please. Oh, my God. Who cares? I don't have a different one. You know who watches this show? Wayne Newton.
You got that right, Kelly. I think you're absolutely beautiful and talented young lady. 5, 6, 9, 12. Talk your shit.
More camera time for me. Hey, I wonder if Cher's watching.
Oh, please. I have so many other things to do.
Woo! Hi, I'm Kelly Clinton. I'm the host of Talk Tales, and you're watching the Vegas Video Network. That was horrible.
Welcome back to the Odds Couple on the world-famous Vegas Video Network. My name is Scott Pritchard alongside my co-host, good friend, Anthony Padilla. To reach out to us, we'd love for you to become part of the show. You can do so by emailing us at oddscouple@vegasvideonetwork.com. That's oddscouple@vegasvideonetwork.com. Also, you can reach out to us. We'd love to hear your voice on our show. Go to our site. On the right-hand side, a red bar. Click there. In the middle of the page, a green bar. Hit Start Recording. Also, we would love to field your live chat questions, anything that occurs to you from a sports betting standpoint. Anthony and I together will answer those questions live. Now, if you do miss us live, it's okay. You can reach out to us on Vegas Video Network, iTunes, YouTube, Roku, and every Saturday this show is rebroadcast on KSHP AM 1400 radio right here in Sin City. You don't have to look far to find frustration when it comes to sports, namely sports betting. Are you kidding me?
All right. Now that we've ended a fantastic football season with the NFL, it gets me thinking because, you know, with social networking and social mediums like Facebook and Twitter, you see a lot of people go on there and say how irrelevant sports are. I hate your sports. I hate your football. I hate your basketball, whatever it is, you know, if you're not a sports fan, because I feel like that's how society has gotten. It's not just that you're entitled to an opinion, it's that your opinion is the only one that counts, and whoever screams the loudest is the one that's going to be heard. Look, sports are more than relevant, okay? Now, whether you like them or not, for a lot of people, they're therapeutic. We've got a lot of different sports that appeal to a lot of different personalities, okay? There's a lot of sports that I personally don't like, but I can appreciate the people who do. It gets you through hard times, it gets you through good times. Whether you play professionally or you like to go down and kick it around with the guys at the basketball court, at the gym, whatever it may be, it serves a purpose on a much greater scale in life. All right, so you may not like it, you may like it, whether you do or don't. Look, there's a place in our lives for sports. Do athletes deserve $20 million contracts? Frankly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because they're going to get it. And you know what? They're paid to entertain us on a daily basis. And, you know, we're talking about this here in a second about injuries, and guys get a cold. If you get a cold, you'll call in sick to work for a week. Okay, these guys, we expect them to be out there entertaining us regardless of what's going on. Adrian Peterson was just, he wasn't just diagnosed, but he just went into surgery for a sports hernia that he said that he suffered in week 10. That means for the last 7 weeks of the NFL season, he played with a sports hernia. If you've ever had this, the pain, the level of pain is indescribable. And the fact that he went out and performed at still such an elite high level is beyond words. So there's very much a place for sports in our everyday lives, whether you think they're relevant or not. They're more relevant than anything you could possibly imagine. And if you don't like it, you know what? I don't know. I really don't know, actually, because this is kind of hard for me with you sitting next to me, knowing how much you actually don't like sports as a sports bettor. So I guess what I'm saying, Scott, is you kidding me?
I actually love sports. The only thing more fun than watching sports is actually making money doing it. One without the other. I can't imagine watching a game without having action on it, but that's me. I value my time. Not everyone does. All right, now, my segment of Are You Kidding Me? The Niners-Ravens Super Bowl, the biggest stage, worldwide broadcast. You've had 2 weeks. 2 weeks to prepare. How many times do you think the Niners rehearsed the first play of the game? So now we go to the game. It's live, 1st and 10, Niners, first play of the game. Boom, shakalaka, 25-yard pass completion. The Niners are looking good. They're feeling good. I'm liking it. 1st and 10. Oh, wait, flag. Illegal procedure. Are you kidding me? How does that happen? Anthony, how does that happen?
Look, all the preparation in the world, man, it doesn't matter. Once again, I just talked about this with you, okay? It's a young team. The lights were a little too bright at the start of this game. If we go back and watch last week's episode of this fine show, I said that if they came out, because Kaepernick was very capable of coming out and starting off slow, and if that were to happen, they may not have time to come back from that. Now, I wasn't thinking the first play, and that certainly wasn't him, but again, you're absolutely right. If you're going to practice that every day for 2 weeks, God knows how many times they practice that opening play. It's been scripted. You know, they probably script that play when training camp starts and say, hey, if we go to the Super Bowl, here's the play we're running to open the game. So you're absolutely right. Therefore, it is nothing else but nerves. And it just went downhill. That set the tone for the game.
It's interesting because I actually feel that it did set the tone for the game, because as good as Kaepernick is, he did have some nerve issues. Again, throwing the ball high, having the INT, even though Randy Moss did not help his cause. In Kaepernick's defense, the guy really had some great momentum in the third and fourth quarter, had 62 yards rushing for the contest, so I really felt he did his job. Where he had a concern was bad clock management. Third quarter, had to burn a timeout, and in the fourth quarter, 3rd and goal from the 7, you only have 2 timeouts. Jim Harbaugh was forced to call a timeout because Kaepernick was going to be called for a delay of game penalty. So I'm with you there. In spite of all of that, though, I mean, it did set the tone. The Niners statistically outgained the Ravens, but again, if you have more penalties and more turnovers, chances are you're going to lose, or at the very least, you're certainly not going to cover the point spread. But let's talk about that last play. Kaepernick changed the play. It's 4th and goal because he saw the blitz and he saw correctly. And he said in his defense that he would take Crabtree one-on-one against anybody. For me, professional sports bettor, I see a one-and-done, all or nothing on one play. A fade route in the end zone is a low percentage play. Having said that, I'm with Jim Harbaugh. No sour grapes here. A penalty is a penalty is a penalty. Pass interference should have been called. It wasn't. Those are the breaks.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up because I constantly go back and forth with people on this about a penalty is a penalty. Yet they say that holding can be called on just about every down. So which is it? Do you loosen the rules a little bit, so therefore holding can't be called on every? Do you see what I'm saying? Because if a penalty is a penalty and you're always supposed to call it, and yet holding can be called on every down, then do we start calling and throwing flags on every other play and say, hey, those are the rules?
I think a penalty is a penalty is a penalty, okay? I don't care if it's the first quarter, the last play of the first half, or the end of the game. And I don't buy that myth, the argument that you can call holding on every penalty. I've been saying what I've been saying all year consistently. The refs suck, all right? Forget the replacement refs. There's no difference between the replacement refs and these refs. But in defense of that, Jim Harbaugh, okay, it wasn't the refs that turned the ball over. It wasn't the refs who mentally perhaps weren't prepared like your team, okay? I love Jim Harbaugh. He's an intense competitor. It's just one of those situations where if you make mistakes, if you turn the ball over, you're going to lose. We're going to keep it moving here on the Odds Couple Vegas Video Network. This is the part of the show where Anthony and I together put you on the right side.
This week, I have the Phoenix Suns, my beloved Phoenix Suns, heading to Oklahoma City to take on the Thunder. I got to tell you, Scott, I don't know what I have done wrong in my life, but as a Cowboys fan, a Suns fan, don't answer that. As a Cowboys fan, a Suns fan, and a Diamondbacks fan, from a sports fan perspective, nobody has gone through more heartache in the past 8-9 years than me with all 3 of these teams, because the Cowboys consistently, going into each season, have the best team on paper, and then somehow Jerry Jones decides to sabotage the team year in and year out, and I got to deal with that mess. The Phoenix Suns, you know, right when D'Antoni came, man, they were fun. They had Amari Stoudemire and Nash and Rajah Bell, and they were beating the Lakers, and they were the team on the rise, and then for some reason, they just could not get over that hump. And they traded away the wrong players for worse play. You know, that's when they decided to bring Shaq out of retirement from his 3rd time. Think about this. This is the stuff I go through as a Suns fan. They had the opportunity to get Kevin Garnett, you know, before he went to Boston, for Stoudemire. And instead, or for Sean Marion. I believe they were going to take Sean Marion. And they said no. Instead, they go and get Shaq. This is my life as a sports fan with my teams. So, naturally, I'm going to go with the Suns in my opening NBA game. In a season where they're about 100 games under 500, there's nothing good about this team. I could read you the roster. It wouldn't matter. You might as well put your own name in there because you're not going to know any of the names on this team. And this is how bad this team is. Alvin Gentry, great man, just didn't get it done as a head coach, was let go a couple of weeks ago. They're only 4-5 under their interim coach. They're not doing any better. They're not gelling. They're not clicking on anything. They're going to face a Thunder team that's 37-12 and one of the most exciting teams in the NBA to watch. I mean, Kevin Durant, is quite possibly the most entertaining player in the NBA. where did this guy come from? And it's funny to go back to the draft with him and Greg Oden, and it was back and forth, and Oden ended up going first, and then, he became the bust because of his knee, and Durant has just flourished, and he just dominates this league. It's amazing to watch this guy play. And with what he's doing right now, as well as Westbrook's, on that same Thunder team, it's a young, solid team. And Phoenix is going in there with really nothing to... I don't know that there's one positive spot on this team right now. I really don't, except that the season is half over and they can start looking forward to next year. Other than that, they're going into Oklahoma 12.5-point underdogs. Their previous two meetings, they lost 114-96 and 102-90. So clearly, it's definitely a possibility. However, here's why the right side for me in this game, I'm just going to tell you straight up, is the Suns plus the 12.5 because of the fact that this is a trap game for Oklahoma City. They are 37-12. They are dominating every game they play. Durant's leading all scorers with 29.3 points per game, and Westbrook at 22.6. That's insane. But they also are aware that they're playing the Phoenix Suns, who are atrocious. And they know they're at home, and they don't need to win this game. And again, we go back to it's the middle of the season, and they're going to take it easy a little bit. And the Suns are trying to get something going still. I do believe there's no quit in this team. They're trying to win. So that being said, I think that's why they're probably still going to lose the game, but I think it'll be much closer than the 12.5. So go with the Suns plus the 12.5 in this game.
Before we get to my right side, I do want to recap what took place last week. Anthony, so modest, wouldn't even bring up the fact that he was on the winning side again. The Ravens plus the points was Anthony's play last week. My play, David Akers, over 7.5 points scored for the game. Both were easy winners. Anthony has been on a kick, started off slow. We actually both started out slow, ATS against the spread. That's all we care about, against the spread, putting money in your pocket here at the odds couple. Anthony, as a sports fan, unbelievable run, ATS against the spread. I'm telling you, about halfway through the regular season, I'm thinking I have to stop betting against his plays because he flat out kicked butt. Now, collectively, I passed during the Pro Bowl, but our last couple 3 weeks, 5-0 ATS against the spread. Okay, let's move on. Tonight, pro basketball has the Brooklyn Nets on the road taking on the Washington Wizards. Wizards have won 13 games. The Brooklyn Nets have won 29. So who's favored? The team with 13 wins. Welcome to handicapping the NBA. It's not easy. Timing is everything. Home court is everything. John Wall, star player for the Wizards, is back. The Brooklyn Nets, I like this team. They have talent. They started out hot. Then they started to fade. They fired their coach, and now they have PJ Carlesimo. They seem to be responding. 2 nights ago, I had the Nets on the road against the Detroit Pistons. They won the game straight up. Tonight, they're on the road taking on the Washington Wizards. I really like, in this contest, I respect the Wizards lately. They've been playing very good ball. They're a different team when Wall is in the game. My money on the Brooklyn Nets plus the 1.5 points. The Brooklyn Nets plus the 1.5. See the cashier.
Man, you know what? I got to tell you, I'm excited. I'm disappointed that football season is over because I love watching football so much, but I'm excited to get into the NBA. Baseball's right around the corner. College basketball, that's great. We had the one more college thing. We had the big National Signing Day a couple of days ago.
Yeah, once again, Alabama for the 3rd consecutive year now, they've actually done extremely well. They're the big winners, okay? Michigan did well. Notre Dame did well. How about this cat, Collins, who signed with Arkansas in spite of what his mom says?
Man, I got to tell you, this really does not sit well with me, especially as a mama's boy. So if there's any moms listening, don't misunderstand me here. There's nobody closer to their mom than me, all right? But what are you doing to your son? He wants to go to Arkansas to play football. He's trying to better his life. Just because you want him to stay in Florida and go to a school there, he's going to be miserable. If you're trying to keep him out of trouble, then don't force him to play close to home. Let him go. Let him do it. Let him go with your blessing, because otherwise, now you're just pitting your son against you and your family. This woman, Scott, hired an attorney. Not only if you don't know the story, she hid his letter from him, his letter of intent. So on National Signing Day, when everybody's getting all these press conferences, he could not participate because she hid it from him. Then the next day, she gives it to him. The dad signs it at the press conference. She looked miserable. She looked how I feel next to you 4 out of 5 days. All right, but she wore it on her face. And then she proceeded to hire a lawyer to represent her dealing in regard to the family's best interest. What are you doing? It's such a horrible thing to do.
I respect the fact that she loves her son, and I'm sure that he loves her, but ultimately, isn't it what is best for him as opposed to what is best for her? I think she's being a bit selfish, and that might be a big understatement. She wants him to play closer to home. He wants to play for the University of Arkansas. I mean, we're talking about a 5-star running back signing for the Razorbacks. So bottom line is his dad signed, and now he's going to be playing for the University of Arkansas. But, you know, Anthony, you talked about players, athletes that have been questionable. Just before I came to the studio today, big game in the NBA tonight, the Miami Heat hosting the LA Clippers. Now, Chris Paul is questionable. Actually, they think that he's going to play for the Clippers, and Blake Griffin. Check the injury reports before you bet this game. They took the game down, then it was 2.5 Miami, and then it went up to 4.5. So again, a lot of disparity here. Do your due diligence, do your homework before you step out and bet this game. But the reason I bring this up is because Chris Bosh of the Miami Heat is questionable. I just checked this out before I came to the studio today. He's questionable because he has a cold. It's like, how about manning up? For Christ's sake, you're making millions of dollars and you've got a stuffy nose? Step up! Come on!
And that, my friends, is why sports are more relevant than you give these guys credit for.
What do you have
or
going
he just needs his mom to stop by and make him some soup.
Maybe that's the key right there. So check out the Heat taking on the Clippers. Interesting side note, I went to L.A. The only other time these two teams played, paid $400 for a ticket. I'm telling you, 10 rows off the floor. I mean, fortunately, I won the bet. But how can you take a wife and or a girlfriend or your kids to a game with the prices being as outrageous as they are? But bottom line is the Clippers stuck it to the Heat. I was fortunate to be on the Clippers tonight. It might be revenge. The Heat hosting the Clippers, the only other time these two teams will play this year. What do you have going this weekend?
Well, after watching those games tonight, I will be at work and you will be joining us. I'm excited about that. Comedy After Dark with myself and my buddy Scott here is coming out to do a set with us. So that's it. Forget I'm golfing tomorrow, but I don't even care about that. I care about tonight with you, man. That's going to be fun.
In the meantime, check out my plays every day, VegasInsider.com. That's VegasInsider.com. I also am the founder of Pritchard'sPicks.com. That's Pritchard'sPicks.com. If you're in Las Vegas this weekend, tonight, Friday night, I'm joining Anthony Padilla, Comedy After Dark, LVH. Tomorrow night on the Strip, I'm performing stand-up comedy, LA Comedy Club, Bally's, right here in Las Vegas. For Anthony Padilla, I'm Scott Pritchard. We'll see you next Friday.